making it. Brooklyn keeps on taking it. We
Check,
keep
check.
coming back with more and more hits.
Check, check.
All these people, I came
Check,
through the door.
check,
I said it
check.
before.
Yo, I came through the door. I said it before. I never let the mic magnetize me no more. It's biting me, fighting me, wrecking my rhymes. I won't hold back. I'm so hypnotized. Hit it 1, 2, 3, 4. We ain't moving out. We moving up Hoya. 1, 2, 3, 4. We ain't moving out. We moving up Hoya. And in the place the party is right. And if you wanna come, make us fighting. Cause we not bow down to no light, to down to no right, to now to no. Hey, 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 hey. The wealth in the house, put it out. Oh. Hey, 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 the wealth in the house, you can't put it out. Oh. You can't put it out, no. You can't put it out, no. The fire's in the house, you can't put it out. You can't put it out, no. Black skin, black foot, black waist. Black skin, black foot, black waist. Black skin, black foot, black waist. Black people, black people. Black skin, black foot, black waist. Black skin, black foot, black waist. Black skin. The loss of our identity as a people, the loss of our image as a people. I think when we discussing that whole situation, and it's not as important to us, or not even buying products such as Gucci, because I don't. It's not relevant to me. But I think it's relevant as a whole to my ancestors, and I think that the blatant disrespect needs to be counteracted with honor. So I'm here to honor my ancestors by sharing that I believe Mama Africa would want her children to know. Products such as Gucci, because I don't. It's not relevant to me. But I think it's relevant as a whole to my ancestors, and I think that the blatant disrespect needs to be counteracted with honor. So I'm here to honor my ancestors by sharing some good information that I believe Mama Africa would want her children to know. So I'm gonna share it. So what this whole blackface thing means to me, as you can see here, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Try to do a little split screen and show you what I'm talking about. The connotations and what a blackface represented back then during the time of, you know, post-slavery and all of the so-called slavery. So, of our people. Let's just talk about what image means. Image is a representation of the external form of a person or thing in art. The synonym to image would be likeness, resemblance. It's about public perception, public impression, your face, your profile, your identity, a guise, a mask. Now we getting somewhere. So what the blackface says to me is that that is a guise or a mask. That is what these so-called white supremacists, which I don't call them supremacists because they're not supreme. So have tried to display. And when you look at the definition of image, it's a guise, it's a role, it's a mask. So with that being said, why be bothered with people who wear masks anyways? Why be bothered? It shows you that they have no identity. It shows you that they're a poppy show, a circus, and a bunch of clowns. It shows you that they don't have anything underneath it. So they're irrelevant. So let's establish that first. Now, secondly, I did some research from the spiritual definition of image. TSELEM and DEMUTH. So Teslam Demuth. We're dealing with in his image, in his likeness. So now we're talking about Father God, Mama God is the aspect that I'm going to deal with today, because I think as black women, me myself in particular, because I'm taking responsibility for my words, but I think that we needed to understand that the spiritual definition of who we are, and understand who we are as the Word, the breath of God, and know that the impact that we have on the nations, and that if we understood that we have such a rich heritage, we have such a rich provision, that we have always been provided for, we have always been loved, and we have always been protected by the Most High, and that let's just say we haven't lacked for any good thing. We haven't lacked for any good thing in Yahuwah HaMashiach. So there's should be a confidence here. There should be a sense of dignity, and there should be a sense of honor. There should be a sense of responsibility. The best way for me to clothe us and garment the daughters of the diaspora, my sisters, in the proper cloth, for the Most High said, take off that garment of filthiness. Remove the dust from your head, daughter of Zion. Take the chains from your neck. Put on your beautiful garments. Okay? Put on your beautiful garments. For, you know, he said you're going to wear the rich robes of vindication and the garments of salvation. So when you clothe yourself in true words, then you don't need an image. You don't need a disguise, a guise, or a portrayal, or a what's the other word? A mask, a facade. No, because you're the truth. And put on these beautiful garments. Put on these beautiful garments. This is my rally call, to rally up all my sisters, because it's going to take us. Did you know that I have a strong tie to Mama Bethune, Mary McLeod Bethune? Or is it Mary Bethune McLeod? But her college is just right in my backyard here. And I'm here with her and her spirit and her legacy to ensure that it continues and make sure that our people know what was vested in them, our sons and our daughters. God's word says, and the Lord spoke to me further, because this people has rejected the gentle flowing waters of Shiloh and rejoiced in Rezin and the son of Remaliah, the Lord will surely bring against them the mighty rushing waters of Euphrates, the king of Assyria, in all of his pomp. So we got to stop rejecting ourselves and rejecting the blessing. Although we have been weakened and degraded in many ways, in that we still have a gentle flowing water of Shiloh. We still have a blessing running through our life. Although we have some losses, right? We have some hits. Just consider yourself in combat. You'll get paid for that. God does recompense. Remember, David said that my recompense is with Yah, for my cause is with him. So if you say that it is good what you have, if you take what you have and you say that it is good, if you embrace the gentle flowing waters of Shiloh, embrace the very present, even if it's a light blessing in your life, embrace it. Just know that, you know, the meek shall inherit the earth, right? Be kind-hearted, be loving, be caring towards your brothers and sisters, be sensitive to your environment and those around you, your neighbors, because these are your people. And don't be so harsh. We have a gentle flowing water, gentle flowing waters of Shiloh, gentle. So back to Mama McLeod, and big ups to Sherry McLeod in Rochester, Lucia's mom. That's her ancestor as well, and we had a good conversation about this. But if you knew who Mama McLeod was, you would even honor Mama Sherry. You would honor your mamas, knowing that we as women are not we're not ignorant, we're not dirty, we're not lazy. Matter of fact, if you read her book, you would see that when slavery when the Civil War happened, that the Caucasians, their properties was running over with trash. And houses were just dilapidated. And falling to pieces because there was no slaves to keep it clean and to keep it organized and to keep it functional. And Mama Bethune, her mother, she was able to go to a neighbor's house, a neighboring plantation, because it was it was falling apart. It was a shit show. And she was able to go over there, and just for cleaning up. Now remember, this was the Civil War, and then it was shortly after that, and here in South Carolina where she was, that they realized that they were free, because Mama McLeod was born free. She, out of 12 children, I think she was the first one born free in this Babylonian captive land. So what they did is her husband was gonna build a house, and he didn't have property, and she went over to the neighboring plantation just to do some laundry because it was a mess over there, very unclean, very dilapidated, as the conditions would be if black people were not here. And she went over there, and the ladies of that plantation, her husband had gotten killed in that war. And Mama McLeod, her mother, she just had made an agreement with her that if she could please just clean up and do the laundry for her, that she could have the whole half of the land that her husband had wanted. She gave it to her. And that's how desperate the times were for those people that had oppressed our people, which should have been their people, but they didn't get the lesson. And they still mostly don't have the lesson because they have us as infidels, you know, who are infidels. So, you know, who are infidels. So, and it's up to you to know who you are and not believe the lies. And I'm telling this story because I think if we start telling our stories, and as we used to do back at home in the motherland, we told stories. That's how our heritage and our rich legacy continued. But now everyone's watching television and into social media and not really taking as advantage of it as we should. Some of us are, but we can tell stories and we can, you know, correct the error for ourselves. That's why I said my own retribution, I'm paying myself reparation by using my words and voicing the truth about who we are and hoping that it will clothe us in proper garments. And if you put on your rich robes of righteousness and your garments of salvation and wear the robe of vindication, you'll find that with this truth, instead of being continuously extorted, where Yah's word said they extort workers of their wages, instead of being continuously robbed and manipulated by the unfounded nations around us who have no foundation, no birthright, no grounds for the power that they have been falsely exerting over blinded minds. An awakened mind or an enlightened mind could not be oppressed by an unfounded people because there's no solidarity with them. Okay? So let's get back to, and spiritually they truly have no stake in the inheritance unless you give it to them. They don't have anything good unless you give it to them. And when you believe lies and you walk under false images or whatnot, back to this word, the Lord said he would surely bring against them the mighty rushing waters of Euphrates, the king of Assyria and all his pomp. Everyone's so worried about Trump. Why? Don't reject the gentle water flowing waters of Shiloh. Turn towards what's for you and say it is good. Okay? Let's go on with Mama Bethune, because a lot of hurt and a lot of disconnection with a lot of our women. And I keep saying our women because our men are what we make them. I mean, every man had a mother. So we have to be responsible for what we are creating and stop projecting. Stop acting like the irresponsible. Let's take responsibility and let's take authority and let's just reflect the truth. So put on these beautiful garments. Let's put them on. So Mama Bethune, Mama McLeod, what did she do? She came to Daytona Beach with her son because her husband didn't see the vision. He stayed in, I think it was Savannah, Georgia. And she wanted to take care of her children. Now she went to college, some type of Christian college up north, where she was supposed to complete that tenure and be sent to Africa, which was her dream and her vision, was to bring the good news to Africa, not the God spell, but show her face and show her strength. And I'm going to show her face, because that is an image. To honor. That is a mama to be proud of. So I'm going to show her face, because this is who I need to look like every day of my life. If you don't see anything else, see this mother. Okay, so because this is my mother, this is my ancestor that I'm very proud of. I'm proud of Phyllis Wheatley. I'm proud of Nani of the Maroons. I'm proud of Harriet Tubman, of my aunts. I'm proud of my sisters who are still here fighting that good fight, and the ones who have left to help us fight from above. My Aunt Linda, my dearly beloved Aunt Linda. And I'm going to be working on my Aunt Kay's apron this week. I'm proud of her. So we got to be proud of ourselves, black women. I'm proud of who I am, and I want you to be proud of who you are. So let's continue with the story, and let me show you how loved you are. Let me show you how when Mama Bethune got slighted and she was hoodwinked and bamboozled by a Christian school that she went to. I wish I knew the name, I forgot, but look it up. That's where you do your homework and find out what college she graduated from. They didn't let her go to Africa to share her rich experiences and her love and all of that perseverance and success as a human being that she was able to come to, transcending the all of the oppression that was at that time in the 1800s, you know, and being great, because you can transcend any situation. You got to get above it and be great. So she wanted to share that, and of course she had to show forth the power of God in her life, right? And that message that was through her was for her people, but she got slighted when she did her terms and finished school there. They sent a Caucasian and an Asian person to Africa and told her basically that she didn't fit the bill to go home to the people who look just like her. I tell you, some image is told and some image is definitely sold. So Mama Bethune never sold out her identity, right? And that's why she has a school here, and she has some proud students here. She had this thing built from the ground up. She came here with her son. She left and came with like $15, and she had took a abandoned house, really, that was pretty unkept next to like a landfill, and she just went because this area was very famous for resorts and had started that whole movement, Daytona Beach, and she was able to take furnitures and different things from behind those resorts and furnish that house. She did obtain the house for like $5, and whatever she needed to pay for rent, she would figure it out. She would figure it out, because when she didn't get to go to Africa, she told her mom she went back home. She was disappointed. She was despondent and let down because she was a firm Christian. And black people are just very spiritual. That is our inheritance anyway. So anywhere where there was closeness to the Most High, then that's where she was, and that's where she went with it. And they let her down. They rejected her. Don't reject yourself because institutions and liars reject you. Don't reject that gentle flowing water of Shiloh. This is a gentle story by a very strong, amazing, beautiful, delicate mother named Mama McLeod Bethune. Okay, so her mom encouraged her to say, just go at it again, like don't be discouraged. And that's where she got the inspiration. And she said, I have my black children here. I have my black people to share and build here in America. I don't have to go back home, because her grandmother used to tell her beautiful things about home in Africa, and she had that connection. And she wanted to go home and be a part of that dynamic and that rich heritage and share her strength. But she did it here. She got on down south to a school, I think in Georgia, where she was teaching, and she followed that through to actually making her dream come true, to making it here to Daytona Beach. And when she got here with her son, I think he was like 2 years old, he was small, she took that house, she furnished it with the furnishings from the resorts that she found, and she only had, like I said, that small amount of money to do what she was doing at that point. So it wasn't the money, it was her vision that drove her. And the vision is very important. That's why God said, write the vision and make it plain, so that they may run who read it. The angels will run with what you believe in. And writing it means that you believe. You're making a concrete, putting in a concrete effort to manifest that reality that God have already spoken over you, the Most High. So, yeah, so she got to Daytona, and she ended up, there was like a railroad track or something that was being built, and the railroad tracks, people from Jacksonville had come and start pitching tents in Daytona. And it was a real meager situation for most of the men, but it was an opportunity for them to be productive and produce some wealth for their family. So they just pitched tents, and what Mama Bethune started doing was cooking. She had like yam in her yard, potatoes, and different things. I think she was making like pies and soup with these things that she had, and she took it down to the areas where they had pitched their tents and was feeding the men, and they bought plates from her, and she was able to reach out to them about their children, because they had their children and they were uneducated. We weren't able to go to school at that time, and for a long time down south thereafter. The North would be amazed at how much we were enjoying when the South was still suffering. And I'm here with my people from both my father's side and my mother's side. This Jacksonville, Daytona area would be the land of my ancestors. I left South Carolina last year, and that was the hub of the transatlantic slave trade. So I have met those ancestors, I have heard from them, and I have said, I'm here, send me, I will go. Yes, speak to me, I will speak. Whatever you say, you know, to honor their legacy and show them that that they matter, and that we're here to attest to their righteousness, to their beauty, to their greatness, to their, you know, to their goodness. We have a very strong, rich, wonderful, good people. We are not worthless. We are not trash. We are not what that face tried to portray, which was an actual portrayal of how those people wearing that mask really feel about themselves. Has nothing to do with us. Unless you internalize it, that has nothing to do with us. So, yep, so she got that built. Used the little funds that she had from those who supported her food business, and she got some supplies. She got a chalkboard, and Mama McLeod started her school. She started her school right in that house, and she took some of the children from the families that were pitched out there, the men with their families, and brought them into that home, cleaned and fresh, and she started educating her children and showing them love and dignity. And when she did that, she had like a few girls and a few boys. And I remember there was a profound moment where there was a kid that she came across that had a broken leg or something. He was very ill, something that needed tending to. And the family couldn't take him to the hospital because they wouldn't see our children in their hospitals at all. They would not see any of us in their hospitals. So we doctored ourselves, but with this situation, there were probably not, you know, the roots or herbs available for them to fix this. And so he probably needed a splint or some type of medical attention. And they wouldn't see him. And Mama Bethune, she ran and jumped into it. And she jumped into the situation and tried to urge a hospital to see him, and they still wouldn't do it. So what she ended up doing, she brought him home, and I think maybe the next day her friend from New York or somewhere up north, he was actually a doctor. And see how the ancestors send your help? See how, you know, when you care, how beautiful things work out. He had come down that next day, and when he had come down, he took care of that kid. He was a doctor, African-American doctor, and what he and Mama Bethune did, together with her starting her school and teaching her kids about themselves and their rich heritage and their rich legacy as a people, they went and opened their own hospital. So they opened their own hospital, and this is all in her book. So they opened their own hospital for our people as well. He got backing, and they ended up doing that as well, because she said she was going to open a hospital for her people. And everything she said she was going to do, she did it. So her son was cared for, and that's what I mean about us as mothers. When you put that level of care and you put that level of investment into your own people to show them that you love them, even when she was making her food for this, you know, to support her school and building it, it was an even exchange. Like, it was never a capitalist thing. It was always about education with her, and this is the principle of our people. You know, it wasn't about the Babylonian way of trying to capitalize off of people like Babylon does. She took their children and she brought them to her home, and she invested into them so that they can turn around and do the same. So it was never about making money or even the food that she was selling. It wasn't, it had principle behind it. And I would hope that we would get back to doing things for principle. Let me turn this music down. Music is just soothing to me. So, yep, get back to the principle of doing things, to your purpose, and finding out that you don't need to sell your son for wine and your daughter for a pair of shoes. Says that in Isaiah, I think. What is it, Zephaniah? It's nothing new under the sun. Those who will sell out will sell out. Those who will put their ancestors first and make sure that we uphold their legacy and be responsible, we're going to do that. So it's always been two kind of people. Nothing has changed. I want to show those who will listen and who will adhere to their calling and to the demand that's on their life and will pay their vows, you know, and pay it forward and do what you need to do. I'm talking to you. It only took one Mama McLeod, and her husband wasn't even prepared for it. So God's word said, instead of the fathers shall be your sons. You know, invest in your sons. Whether a man is there or not, invest in your sons, and you'll see that you will be honored, and your legacy of your people will stand, because the seed of birthright is in him anyways, and it's not gonna stand. That's why you have the Me Too movement and all of the disrespect happening right now towards black men, because it's just, we've been out of order. Women are bitter because of what their husband or their partner and the pain that they caused themselves in those relationships, instead of investing in the seed that you have, right? And if you don't have children, then there's neighbors and there's other children to always invest in. I don't even know a song or a people as lost as they have been. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. I mean, it was a collaboration of artists, I think, who sung that the children are our future. So common sense and natural spiritual sense, even to the most lost people, know that children are our future. So God said, I will give you a seed for your posterity, a seed. And to not know that significance of taking these arrows and shooting them fire is just ridiculous. They're already shooting stars. They came from amazing places, but I'm not gonna go that deep. So anyway, blessed are he and she who has her quiver full of them. Okay, so Mama Bethune. Okay, so she got here, and like I said, she got her school going. She got a hospital born where there was no care in that way for her people. And she loved us. She loved us. She would only put the best quality items in her school when it began to get built, because she pitched it to some resort owners, and she ended up getting a board down here in Daytona and funding for that school. And it was so funny because it was one white guy who she would come up to his resort all the time and sell the pies at the resorts and tell him about her school and how elaborate it was and how beautiful it was and how much emphasis she had put on her black heritage, her African heritage, African history. She said how she had the books and all of these things there in place, the best of mathematics and science. I mean, she had a vision and she let this man have it about her school, how awesome her school was. And after a while, he ended up giving her like a, matter of fact, he said he was gonna come visit, I think. Yeah, he came to that house that she had renovated and had her little children boarding there and teaching them. And he saw her house, and it wasn't the school that she had described to him, right? And so he said, where is this and where is that, and all of the elaborate stuff that she had told him, you know, about her school. And she told him to look around. She let him know it is so, you know. And he did end up writing her a check, I think for like $1,000 or something. He wrote her a check and he told her, when you get your school built, you know, link me up and I'm gonna be a part of that board. So she didn't prostitute herself with the white man. She had esteem for herself and for her children, and she allowed him to see what a mother is. And that's something that I think is key right now. We are so much more, and we have to be so much more. We got to come out of this pit that we had got ourselves into. Matter of fact, anyone that's about this life, I declare and decree right now, if you're going to be about your people, that you rise up out of the pit to sit with the princes of the Most High and his people. Mama Bethune ended up sitting with princes and queens and kings. She really, I mean, Roosevelt's wife was like her, hanging on her coattail. To be her friend, and the Queen of England and different things would call for her because she knew who she was. And African American prominent people, there was one lady she stayed with in Chicago who had tremendous luxury. She was mixed, I think, the wife of one of her partners. And her counselors. And she stayed in Chicago with that lady for like a month, and her daughter. And that lady did not want her to leave. And I wish I knew her name, but that's where you should do your research and read. She didn't want her to leave. And Mama McLeod, she really was seeing sufferation down south. Poverty. Natural poverty in the sense of just stuff, but not spiritual poverty. And nature was full of beauty, you know. The sun is always shining bright. Tons of palm trees, tons of clean, purifying ocean water, you know. So she said she wanted her school by the water and by the rivers of Babylon. Yeah, we all wept. It was like a dream until we realized that we were no longer captives. It was true. So you don't be a captive. Okay, so now, where was I? So yep, she got the school going eventually. Oh no, where she stayed in Chicago, and she saw the luxury of the home. She saw people in Chicago going to school, our people. She saw them having like cars and just a lot of luxury, and treated in a total different way than it was at home in Daytona, where she was building her school. I think she was ill
for a little bit, and that's why the man had asked her to go stay up there with his wife. And the wife, and the daughter loved her so much, as would anybody, when they see a really good mama. And I'm telling you, we have had some really good mamas. Some of our mamas have been broken, but if I remind you of how loved you are and how much has been invested in us as a people, this is just one story. I can go down the list, and maybe I will tell more stories, but we were so loved. Yeah, and she saw that luxury in the face of the image of the wife. Mama Bethune loved her beautiful face. In the face of the image of success, Mama Bethune raided the waters of Shiloh in Daytona, where she had her school going. She wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, the lady was trying to pitch her script to Mama Bethune and trying to get her to stay, but Mama said no. She got her children she have to go back to. I wish a lot of our people from up north could have done that. You know, I know it was a painful thing to come back down south, but we have our children here, our roots, you know, before Africa are down south, and it's so much to be shown, so much of our people that we left behind. Mama Bethune did not do that. She didn't take any kind of bribe or lip service regarding, you know, again, she didn't sell out her image. Her image, her spirituality were her children back home that she was invested into. With all the education and the accolades that she accomplished, it was these children that had nothing. Not the ones up north, but that had a lot that they began to take for granted. But she came down south, back down here, where the regions where it all began, and she started building. Like, she went from South Carolina to Georgia and made it to Florida. And she taught in South Carolina, she taught in Georgia, and she built her school in Florida. And Florida is a red state. What I do like about the Republican government is that it makes more responsible people, and you become more creative, as opposed to that Democratic welfare mentality. Like, you find a way. People, even if they're selling fruit, even if they're selling, you know, food from their farm, even, you know, making clothing, you still have a lot of the trades here. People own mechanic shops and things, daycares. You use your skill and you build here faster. Even if you just got a cart outside and you got some food, it's like that. Especially the area I live, and it's always nice and sunny and somebody out there with some food on the grill. So whatever you do, art, music, doesn't matter. Scientists, you know, science. Use your mind and build something and create something. And this Republican territory builds more entrepreneurs. It enforces it, because you do not, you know, depend on them to help you, because they're not. They are not, unless you sell your soul. They are not going to help you. So, you got to help yourself. And you have all of the nature. The sun loves you. It's kissing you every day. And letting you know you are his chosen. So you can't do nothing but respect it. Get up and do what you do. And do it joyfully. So that's the type of elements down south. They would do Jim Crow. They would every time Mama Bethune would get something passed, like a bill or some funding for some of the public schools here, the white people here would take the money. I mean, just take it. They still do that here today. They do it to each other. So they do. Like, they have so many bums roaming around here, Caucasian straight bums or methods or whatever. And the working class, if you're not into the resorts and things like that, the jobs are menial. And just, you know, what they say, far and few in between, whatever. Like, there's not many. So you gotta get on your grind, and you gotta make your life work and be productive within your own gifts and talents or whatever you can do, unless you're comfortable with you know, the labor force, I guess that's what they call it. Like, it's not a big corporate place at all. But you can run your own corporation, like Mama Bethune did. So yeah, they would always take it, and she would recoup. She would always get the funding that she needed, and she ended up making a beautiful school. She wouldn't put, she actually, I remember it had something like the rooms for her students had all royal blankets. I mean, she had the best of textbooks, the best bedding, the way she decorated it. She wouldn't let them put no trash in her school or give her no kind of hand-me-down. And I remember, if you go back early in her book, her grandma, when a white lady had given her grandma's, which was her sister, got married, and she gave her a gown. She gave her a gown and I think a cake, and gave her like a little wedding back for her sister. This one, it was still slavery, and the grandma told Mama Bethune that was trash. Like, she was like, them hand-me-downs was trash to the level of royal robes that they wore at home in Africa. And that little cake, she said that looked like a pebble compared to the massive feast that they had at home. So Grandma was putting a lot of dignity in Mama Bethune. She was seeding powerful information in that mama, and that's why she wouldn't take anything less than the best for her children. So these kids down here got something lovely. You know, they got something. I mean, she put the most quality, valuable emphasis and value into her people, into her kids and your kids, that I just admire. I admire. She went above and beyond. Her science, mathematics, everything that she established for them, arts, she did the thing. At Bethune-Cookman is founded on some serious dignity, integrity, and love for her people, Mama Bethune. And it has such a rich heritage and an amazing legacy. And people that attend there and that are around here should be proud. But I think we have to tell these stories. I think when you know how loved you are, because right now, mamas are broken. Mamas are lost in their pain and a lot of different things that have occurred back to back. But let me tell you, if it's a loss of a parent, your ancestors have provided you tons of strength to not only become one with that parent that you lost and be reconciled to the strength and the dignity of that parent, but also they're backing you. The ancestors are backing you to go further, 10 times, 20 times further than that parent ever went, because they are here. They are here. They are here with us. They speak to us. We are spiritual people. I mean, I haven't been to Africa. I don't know the Yorubas or the Orishas and any of that kind of spirituality. And I haven't had anyone to connect me or teach me about hearing the voice of our ancestors. And I ain't even on that territory to learn. And I know they learn a lot of that stuff here. I just pray to the Most High and I get those vibrations, and anywhere I am, I can feel my people. So I'm telling you, you can hear them, you can feel them, because they are one with you, and you can know what they are asking you to do and be shown who you are. And I need you to listen. Remember, the gentle flowing waters of Shiloh. Embrace them, because if you don't, you want to be up against the worst rushing water that you have ever imagined, and that Pomshuous king, the king of Assyria. The Lord will surely bring against us who don't listen and don't embrace this reality of who we are. He said the Lord will surely bring against them the mighty rushing waters of Euphrates, the king of Assyria, in all his pomp. It will overflow its channels and run over all its banks. So you want to deal with the Pomshuous, arrogant, proud, ignorant, foolish infidels and their ideas and their projections. And it's going to be some tough waters that they bring, you know, harsh. Or be still and know that I am, saith the Lord. Be still, listen, and answer. You know, I think that's it. I think that's it. I think I have combined the word with a good, amazing, awesome, wonderful story of what we have invested into us from our mama. So all these sons and daughters that felt neglected, that feel unloved, that make the excuse that no one cares, many care about us. Many. The stories are not told, and we got to tell them. But I want you to know that we are loved, we are covered, and we are infused with the power of the Most High to do whatever it is that we need to do, not only for our children, but for all children, because we are mothers. And that's my encouragement for today. I hope somebody will benefit and rise up and be great. Selah.
Keeps on taking it, we keep coming back with more and more hits. Party people, I came through the door, I said it before. Hatton keeps on making it, Brooklyn keeps on taking it, we keep coming back with more and more hits. Party people, I came through the door, I said it before.
I always try to stay positive, flow against everything, moving opposite. I smile, everybody gets talkative. She says she love to see your brother so optimistic. I always try to stay positive, flow against everything, moving opposite. Everybody get talkative. She say she love to see her brother so optimistic. I move around cause the circles are big and it's shaped a triangle for the rest of the trig. Come on the side with the rest of these kids. Come on the side where we blessing these kids. Choose wise, we was born to have a choice. Big sis is my ride, yo, I'm blessed to have a choice. OGs moving silence, leaders have a voice. Come on, black people, let's all rejoice.